could get the clink for life or the electric chair, but I don't want to die a virgin.
Lisa Frankenstein is a 2024 comedy horror movie, directed by Zelda Williams in her feature directorial debut, and written by Diablo Cody. It stars Catherine Newton, Cole Sprouse, and Carla Gugino. It's a coming-of-age love story about a teenager and her crush who happens to be a corpse. After a set of horrific circumstances bring him back to life, the two embark on a journey to find love, happiness, and a few missing body parts.
Do you like music?
I have the cure.
Ooh. Oh, not that kind of cure. They can't make you better. I mean, they can, but like emotionally.
No, don't cry. Your tears smell so bad.
So I'm not even gonna front. I absolutely adore this movie. To me, it is an instant cult classic. It just took me back. It took me back to the 80s and 90s, the kind of movies we used to have, especially with the Tim Burton ones. Movies like Edward Scissorhands, Beetlejuice, and Rocky Horror Picture Show. It just really has that feel about it. It's very funny, but it has a lot of horror to it too. It's very macabre, and the kind of sense of humor that it has is morose, and not for everyone, but for people that enjoy the darker side, the darker kind of humor, the artistry of it, just that unique flavor that Tim Burton movies have. This has a lot of that. The look of it is just fantastic. It's so colorful and just really has that 1980s flair to me, at least as far as the movies go. And one thing I really appreciated about it is it gets the 80s right. So many of these movies we see now, they kind of glamorize the 80s and they make everybody look so much cooler than they really were. This movie, the way people dress, it's not that cool, you know, like the way things are mismatched, the hair that's meant to be a certain way but isn't quite there, just that high schooler that I remember, the way people actually looked back then. It wasn't this, you know, romanticized version of the 80s that we get so much now. And I thought this just did a great job of really showing you that, really showing you the fun of it, but also that it wasn't quite so cool as we have Hollywoodized it to be. But this movie is so full of quirk. It's charming. The love story in it is really sweet, and actually, it got me, okay? I actually enjoyed this little love story that it has, because it really pays tribute and homage to horror as well. There's so many little Easter eggs, everything from Damn It, Janet to seeing Day of the Dead on the TV. You can just feel the love that this movie has for horror, for classics, things to do with Frankenstein as well. I mean, on its surface, this basically is a modernized kind of Frankenstein story. It's a little bit of like Bride of Frankenstein meets Frankenstein with a whole bunch of little weird 80s kind of things blended in. But it does tell its own story, and it does do it in a very unique Diablo Cody kind of way. I really adore her writing style, and I thought it just really came through so strong in this, because the dialogue is quirky but also charming and very funny. And this movie comes at you in this really frenetic pace. It's very quick paced, almost like a little jarring at times because it jumps from one scene to the next without almost giving you warning. And I could see how for some people that might be a little bit annoying, just the way it's edited. I just thought it really gave it a lot of color and flair, because I think it's really creative. As much as I said, it does pay tribute to classic horror, modern horror, as well as some comedies. It is still of its own flavor. This definitely has its own look and style about it. And the props and set design, the color grade, just how colorful and fun this is. It's just an incredibly fun movie, but definitely not a movie to take serious or pick apart. If you do that, it's just not that kind of movie. It's gonna fall apart, because that's not what it's here for. It's here to have fun. I saw some people say it had holes in the story and things like that, and I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, this is not that kind of movie. Who cares if it has some holes in the plot or things like that that don't make sense? I mean, nothing about this should exactly make sense. This girl brings back this guy to life. Like, it's not reality. This is like a cartoon, and people that do that, I think, are just kind of stick in the muds. Like, come on, you know, let it go a little bit. Let your hair down and have fun. So I'm not saying this is a perfect movie, but it's a perfect movie to me if you want a lighthearted, fun, stylish and creative little horror slash comedy movie, this is a great one. But if you sit there and you compare it to Tim Burton or to any other, legendary classics from the 80s, you might not enjoy it. But if you just let it be what it is and enjoy it for what it is, for the charm and quirky and fun nature that it comes at you with, I think you're definitely going to enjoy it. And I really thought Catherine Newton just kills it in this. The way she presents her dialogue is so funny, but charming and quick-witted, just very entertaining. But the whole cast, Carla Gugino is fantastic in it. Just everybody in this does a great job with what they're given. And like I said, it has a lot of that same feel to me that movies like Beetlejuice had, Edward Scissorhands have, like just that kind of quirky, dark, macabre humor that a lot of you gothic-y horror fans are really going to enjoy. And I thought it was really fun because it goes from being almost this classic Frankenstein type of story to being a rom-com, then it jumps into being a slasher, back to like a 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, almost kind of flavor to it. It's just very, very fun. But if you're someone that doesn't like your comedy and horror mixed together, this is definitely not going to be for you. This is more of a comedy than it is anything. I mean, it does have, like I said, that macabre horror love in it, but it is a comedy. It doesn't take itself serious. It is very silly. It doesn't have dialogue that makes sense. The whole premise of it is just a silly fantasy kind of comedy world that it lives in. And I also thought it was funny that Diablo Cody this week talked about how this lives in the same universe as Jennifer's Body. And even though the two movies don't, there is no Jennifer's Body cameo kind of things in this, just the thought that these exist in that same universe, I really thought was great. So who knows? Maybe one day we'll get a Diablo Cody universe where Jennifer's Body and other movies she's done will collide. I don't know, but I'm here for it. That just sounds like a blast. But I really love the journey that this takes you on. It is a very fun ride. It goes in all these different directions and ends in, I think, a very classic, fun kind of way as well. It's just so colorful and artistic and fun, just really has that cult vibe all over it. So I will be shocked if this doesn't become a cult classic like pretty much right away, because for me anyway, it's going right into that same category as some of the other movies I've talked about. I think this is one you should definitely go and see in theaters. It's just great fun, and especially if you're gonna go on a date for Valentine's, I don't think it gets more perfect than this, but I was by myself. I plan on going to see it again. It doesn't matter. You don't have to have a date. This is just a really fun movie that I think will put you in a great mood and have you walking out just with a big smile on your face.
You know anything about the disappearance of a student?
I'm not making any more comments. You can talk to my lawyer.
Really hope this goth phase ends soon.
But I appreciate you guys all watching this so much. And if you enjoyed it, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and ding that little bell, because that is the best way to keep track of this channel. And when I post videos like this, and I post videos like this every single week, I also want to give a huge, massive, enormous thank you to the Ghost Pirate crew, to you guys over on Patreon, and to the channel members over here. You guys absolutely mean the world to me. And if you would like to help support this channel over on Patreon, there's a link down in the description. Or if you want to become a channel member and help support the channel that way, there's a button right down there that says join. But like always, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button, and remember guys, horror can be fun! And if you enjoyed this, click right here to watch me review Out of Darkness. And I'll see you guys next time!